Hello and welcome to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. My view of humanity is a whole new tea. And also, hello and welcome to the Handicapable Black Nerd channel. My qualifications and nerdification are certifiable. And I'm saying both because I'm going to cover different aspects of this on both the woman channel and the nerd channel because this is a topic that I got from a really great face or YouTuber, TikToker, social media person. Is like the way that she analyzes poetry and different writers, different influencers. I know there's these pair of Christian women who go about and they before they were married try to talk about relationships and their specialty and sexualization and sexuality and things like that, even though they never did performed it. But then after they were married, all of a sudden they started backing up, changing their mind and saying different things and getting these counselors. But the counselors weren't even like, I don't like, part of me was just like, okay. So basically, the way that you're supposed to enjoy it is very restricted, especially for as a woman, or the woman is just supposed to be like, okay, it's just for him. No, I'm good. But yeah, she covered like, and I know one of her last videos was even of a married Christian couple, and some of the things that they were doing reminded me of my parents, which was a little scary, and reminded me of some of the things that within the church, because at my church they are big on spank your kids, whoop them. In the Bible it says so, and like I just did an episode on church trauma, which I haven't posted yet, so I don't know which episode is going to be coming out first, because I feel like this one's going to come before. But I'm going to be talking a lot about church trauma, because even with spankings, first, hi, hello, how are you? I am the Handicapable Black Woman Nerd, all that jazz and everything. I am a children's book author, soon to be urban sci-fi. Yeah, I have a lot of books in the making, but quality, it's taken me a lot of time for reasons, which one reason I'm creating this series on the topic that I'm doing today. But when I talk about, like, I'm just, if you're interested in this topic, I will be covering with the church trauma is I was diagnosed at a very late age, in my mid 30s, with my disability. I have a walking disability. And since I could walk, I walked differently, but the doctor said I was making it up. It was in my head. I just wanted attention. I was lying. So I was literally spanked for until I remember the time when I was like, I was literally just about to be an adult, and when I tripped over my feet and stuff and I got punished, I remember telling my mother, I was like, so if you try to do this to me again, I can call the cops now. I remember I was brave, I don't even know why I was brave enough to do that. I got slapped, but I said it, and I'm still proud of myself. But yeah, she slapped the mess out of me, telling me if I ever tried calling and telling on them. So then I tried to tell the people at Oakland University, that's where I went to college for my bachelor's. They were of no help. They said I was lying too. So yeah, everyone kept saying I was a liar about why I walked the way I do, until I literally could no longer walk. I had to crawl around the house for 3 to 4 months until I had to have major surgery. And even after the surgery, the doctors are like, it should have worked. It's your fault that it didn't work. And so then I had to have, like, I spent so much money and thousands of dollars on tests, and because doctors were still blaming me. But then finally, yeah, a DNA test showed that I was born walking the way I did. So yeah, like when I listen to videos, especially this young lady who, you need to follow her. It's like, I'm just gonna say subscribe to her. Like, go to her page, subscribe. Like, I would love if you subscribe to me as well. But I see the hard work. I see everything that she puts out there. A lot of truth, a lot of like critical things to the point where sometimes she makes me examine and or re-examine some of the trauma and things that's happened in my life and why they happened, and just yeah. Anyway, so okay, let's get down to, well, I try. Well, yeah, sorry, long pause, but anyway. Okay, we're going to get to the topic, but just know that's in the works because, yeah, she just did a really interesting video on a Christian married couple who they brag about, like, the, uh, how they traumatize their children to, and they don't call it, um, the ABUSE word, yeah, because, yeah, YouTube is really picky with that word or whatever. They call it conditioning. They make sure they condition their kids. They put the fear in them. And that, like, oh my gosh, I just said this in one of my other videos. I am no longer living my life in fear. So, okay, sorry. Yeah, it's like long tangent. It's already 6 minutes in, but just know I'm going to be talking a lot about the trauma in church and even the conditioning because we had wife training literally, and just, yeah, it's horrific. But okay, don't worry, this is only part one because I have a lot to say on this topic. But when it comes to reading, and they tie together a lot because while I was going through all the trauma with my health, I had reading, I had books, I had my writing, my poetry, my children's books ideas, my novels, even if I had to throw them away, even if I had to hide them and everything like that, which, yeah, that's more punishment and trauma and everything, but I could always be able to find an escape. And that helped me so much, even with the settings and if like with the diversity and the representation and the, like, just the happenings within the character. And sometimes when they talked about the past, how the past created what was present, or how they weren't going to do what they want, like what they felt like they were forced to do because of what happened in the past, or they saw what happened to their parents, and because of what happened with their parents, they're like, nope, I'm not doing A, B, and C because I see what A, B, and C did to either mom and dad, uncle, aunt, family member, whatever. And so being able to dive into the books and, like, even the colors that they wore and the settings and the weather, sometimes it was just like mind blowing because I love taking my time. I loved analyzing and the way I took notes. Like sometimes I'm just like, oh, okay, it was raining on this day. And then later on, you would see it was sunny out and everything, but then she was crying. And so it's like, okay. So I keep saying so, my bad. I'll try to stop. But sometimes being able to tie in the weather with her emotions and how the days that it didn't rain, she cried. And the day that she cried, it was sunny. So maybe it was sometimes the earth released her pain, the earth released her tears, but there are days where she was strong enough to release them herself. And that is from one of the book, like, I read. This was years, like about 6 years ago. I was teaching in the inner city. If you listen to my videos, yeah, I already had tell a few stories about teaching in the inner city. But I was teaching, I think I was teaching sixth through eighth grade, but this happened specifically in seventh grade. I had this one book, if I can find it, because I think I still have a copy by mistake. But it's like, because, yeah, it's like there was a book for each class or for each grade, and then there ended up being another. And so then I was writing notes and I was trying to give it to the principal to be like, okay, so maybe the next teacher, and it could, like, maybe when they analyze or they go over, but then they only want to do fill in the blank paperwork. And I'm like, this is why people don't want to read, or this is why people don't want to do the work. This is why people don't want, okay, I'm going getting ahead of myself. But I was teaching about this one African American based book. It was fiction in the seventh grade and everything. And so I read the book, I had tons of notes, and I kept seeing a pattern with the emotions and also with the weather. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep track of that each chapter. I'm going to keep track of every time she cries and every time it's sunny. And I did that, and the pattern kept going and kept continuing. And I was like, okay. And I reread it, and it's like I started seeing the strength, and I'm like, okay. So now it's like crying doesn't mean you're weak, which I've learned the heart, like, yeah. And it's like, so it I really took it to heart when I was rereading and going through the book and everything, because I started seeing the strength in her tears and the pain, and how so-called friends were kind of abandoning her in a time of need, in a time of advice, when she needed support, but then find out that no one wanted to support, no one really cared what she had to say. And so I had the seventh graders that day. I think I had them like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, something like that. But we had a guest come into the classroom, and I think they want to see like how I taught, what was I up to, things like that. And at first they were like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be here for 10, 15 minutes, that's all, don't worry about it. And oh, I just had a catfish write me. It's like, yeah, they're trying to get me on, let's see, I think WhatsApp. It's like, oh, the speeches they use. Yeah, sorry, it's like I do catfish episodes too. And yes, I'm mentioning it right now because I literally got a message. And if I sound messy, yes, exactly, I'm very messy. My YouTube channel is as messy as my life. That's what I always try to say. Yay. But anyway, I was going over the book, and I'm even talking about the surroundings, and also how the characters were saying things. And sometimes if they were doing a motion with their hands while they were saying it, or if they had a gesture, if they were leaning, sometimes I would show the students like, okay, with technology, now you can start looking this up if you're ever wondering, like, how does this stance look compared to another. And or I was like, okay, as a class now people can act them out. And so like with one of the characters leaning towards a certain way and another was sitting and stuff, I was like, and I would have two students participating in that way, and I would ask the class, what does this look like? And the students would be able to be like, that looks very dominant, that looks very, I'm like, yes, yes. And I was like, so these characters are talking in this way, in this position, so how do you think the main character is going to react to this? And I just remember like talking about that. I mean, those are only like two examples, with the weather, the crying, and the like positioning and everything. And it's like I love doing that kind of stuff. It's like I can do it all day. It's like I would like, hopefully one day, like, well, I won't say my full-time job, because I'm trying to get my own books out, and I literally do that within my books as well. But it I just remember that day I got one of the best compliments that I will never forget, because the person that was visiting came up to me, and they were just like, that is how you teach an English class. That was absolutely amazing. I was like, I want to come back. I want to read this book. And I was just like, oh, thank you. It's like, I mean, I was like, yeah, my bachelor's was in English. I love reading. I love digging in and getting as deep into the book as is possible. And they're like, no, you don't understand. That was amazing. And So part of me just feels like at least I know that I am able to dig into different books in different ways and things like that. Because soon, as soon as I'm thinking like I want to do, or I want to start before I publish my first novel to start getting the book reviews and things out to you guys on the Nerd channel. But part of me is just like, girl, finish your first novel first. Get this thing out there. And because like I will tell the whole story of the creation of this novel, because it's it's been living my life with me. And especially I was surrounded by doubters and people telling me to quit, and why would I do this, or I will only read it if you publish it. And they wanted nothing to do with it. And like, if you know, like, some of you know who I'm talking about, Mr. No Heart. When I gave him one of my poems to read that I wrote in poetry class back in college, he threw it away. He literally, like, he did not give me back my property. I told him this is a printed version. And I told him I didn't have another copy, but I was like, I'll come and get it the next day. When I went to start cooking dinner, I went to the garbage can. I found it at the top of the garbage can. Do you know how frustrating that is? And he still had never said a word. He still doesn't know that I know he threw it away. It's in a folder right now. I think it has a little cigarette ash on it. I dusted it off or whatever, because it was literally right on top. And I paid attention, like, right before I think I was gonna throw away eggshells or something like that. But by the grace of God, karma, or karma's cousin, best friend, whatever, something told me, girl, look in that trash can. And I did, and I took it out. And I have it. It's in a, like, I have so many like, if you knew, like, I have so many business ideas and things like that. I have so many folders where I would have to look for it and hunt it down. But once I find it, I'm going to actually put it on my media, vocal media. Like, I have there's a website where I put my poetry. I haven't added to it in like 6 to 8 months because I've been so busy. But yeah, it's like, my goal was, once I find it, I'm gonna type it up and put it on there to add to my collection. But yeah, I know I need to finish my novel, but I really want to start doing book reviews. And one book that I read that I'm going to reread so I can start going over like how I dig into the book and pay attention to the colors, the scenes, and everything is Arsenic and Adobo. And one reason, because I love diversity, equity, and inclusion, which, yeah, that's a lot of Republican scary horror movie type of word. But yes, I love diversity, equity, and inclusion. So I love reading books by different types of authors of different ethnic and diversity. And especially since my books, I have a lot of diversity, equity, and inclusion. I have, I have a disability, so I'm making sure I have characters with disabilities and different ethnic and religious backgrounds and LGBTQ. I try to show and share it all: divorced, married, single, given up, and all of that jazz. So, but yeah, Arsenic and Adobo, I think, is a really good example of how some people said, "Oh yeah, it was cute. I liked it. I read it." But I saw some patterns, and even like some of the things that were cooked, when they were cooked, how they were cooked, if you paid attention. And even with, like, there's going to be some things where I'm just going to do because I'm a nerd, but astrologically, what do I think the main character is? And so I'm actually going to get more of the books and read them. And I'm probably going to guess with this one alone, but then I'm going to read more of them to see, do I think the same astrological sign? And like, I'm gonna look up the personalities, comparing things like that, and also see, in any of these books, are they going to? Is she gonna have a birthday? Are they gonna announce the birthday? Are they gonna even say the month of it? So then I can at least kind of estimate and know. Okay, what is her sign? Because everybody has an astrological sign. You don't have to believe in it. Oh, I've had students who are like, "Oh no, astrological. No, I'm Christian. You're going to hell because you even said the word." So I'm like, "Oops, oh, okay, never mind. I didn't say you had to believe in it. I just." But anyway, but even the pickings of the colors of what they wore, or the paper and things like that, and also the love interests, and at least as arsenic and adobo, because I'm going to see if they change, because especially in the Hallmark movie there's this one where I forgot her name, but she used to be like an actress in soap operas, but now it's a murder mystery series where she always ends up with the detective and stuff like that, but then the love interest changes because either the detective moves or leaves to another state, or like, well, blah blah blah. But it's a bakery based one. She works at a bakery, but then there's a murder, and so she solves it, and she follows along and stuff like that. But yeah, it's like watching the love interest and looking at her personality and how she does things, and now I'm kind of wondering what astrological sign would she be? But with the arsenic and adobo, one is a lawyer and one's a dentist. So I want to see if the love interest is going to stay the same, and like, is she finally going to have a one-on-one date? Because every time she is supposed to either eat, like, or I think there was one time where, like, I'm gonna reread it, but I believe it was the dentist where he thought it was going to be a solo one-on-one date and found out it was a group date. And then there was another time where the lawyer and the dentist were at the house at the same time. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm reading. Yeah, I'm reading this one real slow. It's like, okay, which one is she going to sit next to? And it's like, body language wise, which way is her lap going to be pointing? Towards the dentist or the lawyer? She knew the lawyer longer because the lawyer is her best friend's brother. And so one reason why she won't date the lawyer is because of her best friend. And her best friend's adorable too. I really like her. And that's another thing. It's like, I love the friendship that this author created, and she made them authentic to the point where sometimes they like each other, but there's points where just like, girl, if you don't get away from me, and then like an hour later, yeah, okay, yeah, girl, I forgive you. Come on over. Let's drink some coffee, have some tea, or eat some crumpets, whatever, blah blah blah. Because yeah, one loves to bake and one loves to create coffee eccentric drinks and things like that. So they're both like, they're creatives and stuff, and in the food and drink area, so, which I love. And so I don't know, it's just like, some people just want to skip over the settings. I'm like, no, 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 no. It's like, and that's one reason why it's like, while I write my novel, I'm doing more research on which YouTubers, which TikTokers to write and respond, because all of the book talkers that was in this young lady's video, no, no, never. I will never write them and ask them, because they will not like my stories. They will not like them, because in my settings, in a lot of even how people say things and stuff, I have my goal is to put 80 to 100 Easter eggs in each one. It's like, if you have to read carefully and sometimes reread it to catch on to, oh my gosh, when you look at how they said this, and or if you decipher this word, or look what street she passed, and it's like, I want you to be able to, like, okay, look, and also what she wears, how she wears it. And not even just with my main characters, like with each character, but my main character especially. And sometimes there's things where my side characters, things that they do or things that they say or pull towards her, also you have to pay attention to. Things that are on her plate, pay attention to. The names of settings, pay attention to. Even their names, pay attention to. And so that's why, like, with this video and how this person was, or these ladies were saying, oh, too many words. Where are all these words? And I just can't do this. And it's like this book is just, if I can't get entertained by the time I get to page 100 with, okay, I get it. One life. You never know when's your last day. So enjoy it. But at the same time, if you're saying that you're not enjoying a book while you're skipping components that might tell you why these characters are saying what they're saying, or why they're saying it at the place that they're saying it, because these ladies are acting like only what you say matters. Setting matters. Because if you're saying something in a jail cell and if you're saying something at a wedding reception, it kind of matters. It kind of matters where you're at. So, because if you're saying you love somebody at the wedding reception and then you say I love you to somebody in a jail cell, yeah, that matters. You really want to know what's going on. It was like with the I love yous. And even one of the young ladies, they were giving examples of, yeah, they were at the beach and there's seagulls, blah, blah, blah. I know about seagulls. I know about this. I know about, but okay. And it's like, I skimmed it. What were the seagulls doing? And how was the ocean? Was it calm? Were the waves, was it action? Were the seagulls hungry? Were they calling out? What were they doing? Were they hunting down their prey? Depending on the book, maybe someone's hunting them down. And so maybe in this paragraph, they're showing that that how the main character is going to be hunted down. So it might be symbolic, it might be metaphors, it might be something foreshadowing to something to follow along and pay attention to. Because even like feathers might crazily like fly off of the seagull for some reason, frantic or waving the wings. Like, what was going on? Like, was there something? Because I want it to be more than just, I'm gonna just skim this, it doesn't matter. No, 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 no. It's an artwork. That just tells me they would not be able to handle Shakespeare or Edgar Allan Poe or, oh my gosh, uh, just Langston Hughes. So many of the greats. And that's kind of saddening. Thank you for listening to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. I am a woman, I am of color, and I am handicapable. But most importantly, I am human and you're human too. And this is just the start because I started this before the election. And a lot of you guys already know how I'm trying to multitask getting my businesses together. And that's one reason why I examine and look at profiles as deeply as I can, because a lot of these men, they don't mean me any good. They don't mean well at all. They want to see how low of standards I will tolerate. They will see how much control they can have over me just because they're a male. That's it. That's it. Being a male to them means power, means authority. And then they think that we are just supposed to be so, well, like, anyway, I'll talk about it on another episode.